Today's TNA Impact episode was a pretty boring show, and it's unfortunate because many people tuned in because it was the start from TNA's side for the partnership between WWE and TNA. Let's start with the best thing that happened on the show. Fraxium versus the Rascals. Fraxium retained their crowns. Uh, Wesley and his goons attacked Rascals, which caused, Fraxium to win. I think this is good because first it sets up, the Wesley and the Rascals rivalry didn't really end it because they had like one. I think for one match was won by Zachary Wentz and the other was won by Wesley. So there's another match there. Rascals can again challenge the Fraxium for the tag titles because they didn't lose by fair means. Fraxium can then go after Wesley and their crew also because they are like, why didn't you interfere in our match? This way you can keep Wesley, like Wesley is advertised like he's going to face Ace Austin, so and they're taping that today, and then probably I think Rascals would show up on NXT also. So this is a good way to keep the partnership going on and also to keep the partnership going on with an established feud. This was a feud that has been going on for a while, which hit a pause for a little bit of time, but is now back on track. We also had Spitfire and Masha versus the Ash and Heather by Elegance and Rosemary. Cora Jade came out and she caused an interference which caused Masha and Spitfire to lose. Cora is also on these tapings and because she had a match with, I don't know what her name is, Hyena or something. One thing about TNA is, maybe it's just me, the way that they shoot the show, the 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 arena size, the way the production is, the way they wrestle in the ring, the way they cut promos, the way their commentary is, nothing feels really important. It feels like things are going on. Like, okay, I'm watching a show, things happen, we move on. It's like it's a TV show that I can put on if I don't have anything to do, and I'm just like, what will help me pass the time? And if I'm watching TNA, it's like my mind is completely blank. Oh, this happened. Oh, this happened, and we move on. Maybe it's just me because even those 2016, 2017 shows which had the Hardys also, that also, like, it's just maybe because the ring bounces so much. Maybe it's because you know they are very small, but then AEW Dynamite is not doing that well also. But there, at least in few segments, I'm like, okay, I'm excited. Like, this does nothing for me. There is nothing objectively bad, but there is nothing objectively good also. Like, like if I am sitting on a chair, like I don't go like this, but I don't go like this also. So TNA Impact is just a show that comes on. It's like things happen, and it feels like, so the system. What is the system? Like, it feels like a knockoff version of some stable that they copied it from. Like, these people do not feel like stars. These people feel like, someone came out, someone did this, someone did that. Like, me, it's just a weird vibe that I get watching TNA. The only good thing was the Fraxium versus the Rascals match. You had other things also, like Matt Cardona came out to challenge Joe Henry for the Impact World Championship for the main event. And in a way, I like this because it's for one night, and also that Matt Cardona is someone that has an internet personality. People kind of know him. Getting Joe against someone who is known already on like a live Impact after 8 years. So I think it's a good way to get eyeballs on a show, and it's for one night only. They also had a segment where Mike Santana came out, and he was like, he spoke in Spanish, and he was like, I am the standard of TNA now. I forced him to say I quit, and now I want to be world champion. And then when he's just about to leave, Mustafa Ali comes out, and I'm like, man, nobody wanted you, because it's certain, because he was in TNA last year. He finished his run. He didn't show up in Indies at all for like the later half of the year, and then he just comes back to TNA again, and he's officially signed to TNA. That means he probably was trying to negotiate something with WWE or AEW, but no one wants him. So he's there for the so he has signed with TNA. One thing with this WWE TNA partnership is that many people who that WWE or AEW both do not want, and those who have been in TNA, they may choose to re-sign with TNA because to get a chance to be in WWE, because first they may get a chance to be on NXT like a week or something, like Hammerstone like got like 2 weeks on NXT TV. Do you think? I don't think WWE maybe they were interested sometime, but they're not like interested in him. But they see that NXT and TNA have a partnership. I may get a chance to show up like 1 week. Maybe I do something that impresses them. Maybe then when my contract ends, they come for me. Or maybe even if they don't come from me when my contract ends, at least me getting on NXT will get eyeballs on me, and then maybe I can get more indie dates. Maybe more people will buy my merchandise. And I see two people like Matt Cardona and Mustafa Ali in that boat. Like Mustafa Ali is now back with TNA. He will get a chance in NXT, because remember, like he was supposed to get a North American Championship shot against Dominic Mysterio at like NXT No Mercy like 2 years back or something, and he actually got released. And Shawn Michaels said that he didn't know, he didn't have any details about it. Like he finally had the idea that there are something known as NXT and WWE rosters, and so you will probably see Mustafa Ali get like a shot against Tony D'Angelo sometime, because the Rascals got their shot against Fraxium. Maybe Tony D'Angelo also gets a match against Mustafa Ali. Maybe we see Mustafa Ali go to NXT to get a shot, or maybe Tony D'Angelo comes down to NXT to TNA to fight. And it's good also. Like Tony D'Angelo has not been given anything since he has become champion. He has that like what, three defenses, and none of them have any stories. Like he had a story with Ridge Holland, but it looks like they have not done really anything with him. Like like they could have had Wesley go into a feud with him. Like Wesley, I don't get, like Wesley losing will, it's not like Wesley losing will end his career or something. You could have had Tony D'Angelo against Wesley. You could have put other guys too. Maybe like you put Trick Williams against Wesley or something. Maybe you could have got it Javon Evans. Maybe Ethan Page in his road to like he's broken right now. He's crazy, right? You could have gotten him, but they didn't do anything. But let me digress. Then you had Steph Delander also show up, and she said like she got the Impact Digital Media Championship from PCO in a divorce. And okay, I first of all I didn't know. First of all, I was like, were PCO and Steph Delander married? And then I saw it was like on YouTube. It was like a wrestling angle thing. Then she said that 23 is me, and because they were doing some angles, like I heard on social media that they have been doing these angles for like weeks, where they're just showing these 23 vignettes. Sammy Callahan shows up. He's like, who is 23? Steph Delander comes out, and then she's like, meet my boyfriend, and it's Manser Delander. If you go, his full name in TN is Manser Delander. If you go by Steph Delander's Twitter account, like people didn't know who he was. Even I didn't know who he was. First of all, when I saw his back, he didn't show his face like he was when they were hitting Sammy Callahan. I was like, is he Indian or something? Please don't be Indian, because he had like a receding hairline from the back of his, back. He was looking like, is that guy Indian? And then I was like, who is he? Who is Mansur? Like, the crowd didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was. Then Stepdale Landon gave him the title, and he attacked Sammy Callahan with it. And then before that, she gave him big kiss, and he attacked him, and that's that. She just like, this can only happen in wrestling, man. Like, winning a title in a divorce. So like, has that angle ever happened before? I don't think so. Like, that's kind of unique. Have to give them that. Then you also had the things which happened on the show was Tessa Blanchard had a promo. Like, she had a basic cookie cutter heel promo. Like, you just won against the woman who carried MTNA on her back, who was like maybe the major reason that maybe Impact had gotten more eyes on her. Like, she was the one who went into the Royal Rumble. She faced Roxanne Perez at an NXT PLE, and she had like a basic promo like, my family had a great legacy here. Your sports team sucks and everything. Like, you boo me, and people were booing her, and people will say, oh, she has heel heat. No, that was the kind of booing was like, we don't care about what you have to say. Like, get off our screens. Like, get off our show. We don't care. We don't give a shit. That was the kind of heel heat that Tessa got, and her promo was just over. Like, what do they do with her going forward? Like, who will Tessa face? It was just like, you could have given her something. Like she was like one of the things that got blown up on the night of Genesis, because she's a racist chance. Maybe you could have given her a big angle here, but she just got like a cookie cutter heel promo. The show was started with Josh Alexander with his armory, Northern Armory, showed up, and he was like, I'm going to retire. And then they said, no, you are gonna not. Then they attacked him. Then Eric Young came out. Man, Eric Young's voice is so hoarse. Like, he sounds like he's 70 years old. I mean, he looks 70 also, but he also sounds like he sucked something, and he sucked something deep. He sucked some mad dick back in the days. Like, he sounds like that. The crowd didn't react to his announcement that he's going to team up with Josh Alexander against the Northern Armory or whatever they are called. So they're going to be facing next week. Like, his contract ends on 14th February, I think. So he's probably going to like put over the Northern Armory next week, and maybe they have like 2 weeks or something to that he can put over more guys before he leaves. Like, he's what, 37, 38 years old. I think it's his time. Like, he will go to NXT most probably. Though as a wrestler, I feel like he feels more AEW coded, but looking at his age, I think he may go to NXT, because there I think he has like a spot fixed, because Ethan Page is there. They had a tag team called the North, and Ethan Page's story ending with him being in a tag team with Josh Alexander kind of makes storyline sense also, and will give Josh Alexander a fixed spot on the card, and also with a pretty big star, because Ethan Page, whatever you say about him, he is one of the stars in the men's division in NXT. So you get a fixed spot with him. Like, you can be in a tag team, and maybe he wins the NXT Tag Team Championships from Fraxium alongside Ethan Page. Maybe that's what happens. Then Like there's like a lot of nothing. Like one thing I like is that Hardy's being in TNA is the right thing because they work within themselves. They don't have the pressure because the crowd is small. They don't really have to do like death defying stunts anymore. People cheer them anyways. They hit the signature moves. They know their values. Like they're nostalgia acts essentially, but they're the tag team champions. And I think they are where they should be. They are in a spot where it is perfect for them to be in that spot. This is the spot they should be, because maybe in other companies, if they become tag team champions, they may have to, do something else. They may have to get involved in storylines where they have to exert more, maybe in promos, maybe in matches. Maybe they will have more pressure over them to consistently perform. Here they can just hit their famous moves and get along with it. One thing I didn't like, Moose is your X Division champion. Like he's clearly a big deal there, right? He has been there for a long time. He's one of your top guys. He's a monster, right? He beat Ace Austin at Genesis. Why was he the one that got pinned here? Like, you could have pinned the other guy, right? Why? Like, is it setting up a Jeff Hardy going after the X Division champion? If it is, then it kind of makes sense. But if you're putting him over as, he is this big, guy, like, nobody can stop him, he is Moose, why have him like lose in a pretty inconsequential match, a match which was made randomly, and you just have your singles champion lose a random match? Like, I don't get it sometimes, whatever they do. One thing with Mustafa, and another thing in that Santana promo when Mustafa came out, why was Sant- weird thing happened. Santana went back into the ring. He stood there. He watched Mustafa give his old Citizens of TNA promo, him saying that he wants to be world champion. Santana just stood there, listened to him. He didn't confront him or anything. Like, Mike Santana is supposed to be this badass, right? You just got interrupted by another person who said they want to be world champion, which is your goal too. You just stood there listening to this guy for 3 minutes. You didn't push him, you didn't confront him. He said and he left. And you were like, what? Like, this just makes you look stupid. And then he went away. One thing I like is that for Joe Henry, they have people that are interesting enough as title, as World Heavyweight Championship feuds. Like they have someone like Mike Santana who has been growing as a singles performer, who just beat Josh Alexander in an I Quit match. Josh Alexander, who for the past 6 years has been TNA, like he has been their world champion. He has been their guy before. He has beaten him. You have Mustafa Ali, who already has had a good run in TNA, who is, like popular enough also, who has a character which actually has depth, which actually has people interested. So you have people, who want to go after the world championship. It feels they are treating Joe Henry as big time, and I'm glad that they are doing that. It feels like people are yearning to go after Joe Henry for the world championship. You have a wild Frankie Kazarian who who always gets bitched out whenever he tries to cash in his whatever the cup he has. So you have things going around. But when we go to the main event, it was a nothing match. While JBL appears, he clotheslines Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona gets up pretty easily after the clothesline. Joe Henry is dumbfounded. Why is JBL doing this? Kind of like the rest of the audience. Matt Cardona tries to hit him with the belt, but Joe Henry gets him. Before that, there was a ref spot which, broke my mind. I was not sure what they were trying to do. Like, I can't even really explain it because it was so weird. And then, Joe Henry hit him with a kind of a south of heaven type thing. He doesn't get people that high on the choke slam, but he held people up for a good period of time. It shows how much strength he has. And then he hits it and he wins the match. The thing is, when you have people like Santana and you have people like Mustafa Ali, and your main feud for the world championship is something where JBL is involved, like they're trying to they're trying to make a storyline out of this, of JBL, randomly hitting people with clothesline. They're going to make it something big, but this feels like small time. This feels like, oh, okay, JBL is an ex WWE guy. He's a legend. He is in the media. He was just on Raw. Let's make a big storyline out of this. Like, why? It just seems so low for a world championship feud. Like, just move on. Give Joe Henry like proper feud. Like, give him someone like a Mustafa and Mike Santana. Have Mustafa and Mike Santana go to war for a chance um, against Joe Henry. Add the conniving Frankie Kazarian into it. Like, have that be the feud rather than having JBL being involved in your world championship feud. So that was it. That was a pretty boring show for me. The thing is, I am only watching TNA because it was their first live show. Not really because NXT and TNA are in an official partnership. So I'm now intrigued to watch TNA. But it's a whole lot of just uh, it's kind of like, if you want me to describe the feeling I get when I watch TNA, just play Don Callis's AEW music. That is the feeling that I get when I watch TNA. So that was my review. So if you like this type of content, like this video, share and subscribe. If you don't, share it with those who do. My social media links are in the description. Go follow me on that. My UPI ID link is in the description too. So go donate any amount which you can, so that it helps me to become a permanent YouTuber. So that was it for me right now. Thank you. Goodbye. Alvida.